the way things are going now, we need to hold the light. We need to go beyond the disparity and the duality. And that's why I love the Taoist teachings and the Buddhist teaching. It's the middle path. And what I find that's so beautiful is that these teachings are not only bringing you physical grace and fluidity, right? There's the actual self-healing aspects.
Hello and welcome into another Chi Time, your conscious living show with me, Clara Apollo. And on this episode, I am absolutely thrilled to have for you the quantum chi mistress, I'm going to say. Sharron Rose is with us. Now, Sharron is a filmmaker, she's a choreographer, she's a performer, she's an author, and she's a composer. We've got some of her beautiful music coming up. She's a teacher. And what is it you don't do, Sharron? I mean, you are sort of multi-accomplished, and it's a complete honor to have you on the show. Welcome.
It's such a joy to be with you, Clara. I'm so happy to be here. Your enthusiasm, your beauty, your grace is just so powerful.
Oh, I could say exactly the same to you. There's a reflection going on here, for which I feel very honored, actually. So yeah, I first came across you via the Quantum Chi movie, and anybody out there who is a qigong practitioner or even tai chi or reiki or any sort of energy medicine is going to be interested in this. And this is a film or a series of films and documentaries that Sharron has lovingly crafted over how many years now?
Well, it's been three years in June since I began the process. So in order to pay for my editors, etc., I worked other jobs. So it's been part-time, and now it's reached such a place where we're hoping that I'll be able to work full-time, because it's so important right now with the way the world is. These teachings are so powerful, and they bring such peace and serenity that I feel the way things are in the world, we really need these, starting from very young. There's teachings that are so simple and so important. We all really need to go into a new place where we reconnected with nature, we're reconnected with our essence, we are reconnected with each other, and we listen to each other, and we learn how to heal ourselves. And from that place, finding the essence of ourself, then we can reach out through these wonderful practices of qigong, tai chi, meditation, energy, and acupuncture, and traditional Chinese medicine, and Taoism, and all these fantastic ancient teachings that have been alive for so many centuries and are really here to help us.
They really, really are. And as you're speaking those words, I can feel the wealth and the richness that is coming through. I think it must be your understanding, but also what the energy that is just rolling through you because of the clear channel that you are. So thank you for that. And Sharron is calling in from Crestone, Colorado. In fact, hopefully you can see, if you're watching this, the mountains in the background.
So this is a very beautiful place. It was a place created by my friend Hannah Strong to house the world's religions. It's an experiment. Can all these religions live together? Can we really learn how to have community? And we do. This is an amazing place. We're up at, well, the mountains are 14,000 feet, and I'm speaking to you from 9,000 feet.
Wow. So when you say bringing all the religions together, what do you mean? How is this managed there? Have you just got lots of different peoples or different temples, or what's going on?
We have temples that really look like, example, we have, I think, 6 Tibetan temples, all different lineages. And they all look like they come from India or Tibet. We have a Hindu Lakshmi, goddess of wealth, my girl, temple. And it looks, and we're doing fire pujas. We have the Carmelites. We have all kinds of the Sufis. We have so many, I think there's like 33 different traditions. We have the way of nature that is directed by John Milton, who's in Quantum Chi. He brings together the teachings of Taoism, Tibetan Buddhism, and nature.
Oh, this sounds fantastic. I want to move there. No, I'll stay here for now. But it just makes absolute sense to weave together the truth. And to me, that qi is like a connecting force between everything, and that is the truth that's running through all of these different traditions. And then we've all got something to learn from one another and to bring into the weave of now. And do you think this is how we're going to move forward as a more united society?
Well, that's what I would love to see. The way things are going now, we need to hold the light. We need to go beyond the disparity and the duality. And that's why I love the Taoist teachings and the Buddhist teaching. It's the middle path. And what I find that's so beautiful is that these teachings are not only bringing you physical grace and fluidity, right? There's the actual self-healing aspects. And then there are these, here comes the airplane. Then there are these practices called inner alchemy, in which you really learn how to work with your emotions. And they're very, very powerful, because I feel that the mainstream media is doing their best these days, and for quite a while, to just stir the pot of chaos and confusion. And we get lost in this kind of cultural trance. We made a film called 2012, The Odyssey. We made it in 2006. And it was looking forward to the year 2012. And I interviewed all of these researchers. And I feel that what they were saying then, things like the lie would become the truth. The world will be turned upside down. You know, people would be just angry with each other. There'd be all kinds of earth changes. That those things are really happening now. And that's why these teachings are so important. You know, we're here in this precious human body. So many forget, they're lost in the matrix world, in the technology world, and they forget the importance of their body. This is our precious vehicle. And so I've been around for many, many years, teachers from many traditions, from Tibetan Buddhism, Hinduism. I lived in India. I'm the disciple of one of the great dancers of North India. She was an early Bollywood star, so I was immersed in the music and dance and culture and mythology of India very deeply at a very high level. And I've also been involved with Middle Eastern dance and music, and particularly ancient Egypt and Kabbalah and all that. But I have to say that the Taoist teachers, the qigong, tai chi, and martial arts teachers I have met through this process are the healthiest, happiest that I've encountered in any of these traditions. They are incredible role models, so inspiring. For example, one of my wonderful interviewees is Master Li Junfeng. Master Li Junfeng is now 80 years old. If you would see, and you see in Quantum Chi, he does these movements like he's 30, and he's teaching all day. He was a former martial arts film star. He was head of the Beijing Wushu team. He discovered and trained Jet Li. And then as he got older, the spiritual aspects came just into him. And he and his beautiful daughter, Li Jing, teach what's called Shenzhen Gong, or Shenzhen meditation. And that is the meditation and movement of unconditional love. And isn't that what we all need right now? But how do you get to the unconditional love? It's a whole process, alchemical process of distilling yourself, of releasing these patterns of negativity and fear that are being projected on us or that we have experienced from childhood. As a healer myself, I'm trained in craniosacral therapy and in a system called the psychophysical method of neurosensory re-education, which is kind of a combination of hypnosis training and Feldenkrais, in which you're bringing your consciousness into the tissues and very subtle, soft, repetitive movements that bring your consciousness particularly into the joints. What I'm finding, through my inspiration of Master Lee and of course Mantak Chia and Roger Yonka and Ken Cohen and Daisy Lee Amalia, all of these wonderful masters that I have been working with for 3 years now, is a profound system that incorporates so many aspects of healing. And not only that, they really give you the tools to heal yourself.
And that is why I got into qigong in the first place, because I was looking for something that I could take anywhere and do for myself at any time. And it was lovely to have massages and go and have treatments, don't get me wrong, but being able to take care of oneself to such a deep level has been an incredibly precious gift that I gave myself and didn't realize just how deep that was going to take me. So really with you on that, absolutely. And that it is so wonderfully accessible for all. It's really tricky, isn't it? Because people say, like, how are you going to niche market qigong? It's like, you can't. It's across the board. Children get it. They love doing the 5 animal frolics, for instance. Yeah. And then you've got all the way through the ages what it can gift you around healing your body organs, as well as the emotional conundrums that we find ourselves in, and then into the vitality that you can access when you're older. It's just a phenomenal exercise discipline, isn't it?
It certainly is. I turned 70 in January.
Wow.
And I'm really, really now focused so much on practice. I do at least 2 hours a day now, because I was working so hard on this project, sitting there with the editor and, just logging in everything and on the computer. And then I really started to forget about my body. I was so obsessed. And then I said, that's it. And so I'm really, as a dancer, I understand discipline. So I've been doing all of these practices, and the qigong has added such an extraordinary dimension. I was a yoga practitioner since the 60s. And I love yoga, but somehow in its translation to the West, it's become like yoga for abs, and it's lost its deep, deep spirituality, although it's always there to be discovered by anyone that wants to go deep. But I think that qigong and these arts, tai chi and wushu and TCM and all of that, are really the next wave in healing and mind-body integration. To me, we're starting what we call the chi revolution and reaching out throughout the world.
And there's such a lovingly excitement about it when you talk about the truth and the chi. It wants to help. It wants to play. I often say we play with our qigong. It plays through us. It shows us how we want to be and move. It's just such a gift, as I say. And as is you speaking here with us on Chi Time, Sharron Rose is with us. And you're also a composer and a singer and an author. You've written some incredible music that I've been really honoured and privileged to have heard already. Thank you. And I'd love to play some here for our listeners on She Time. Should we do that?
Sure.
So the first track I'd like to share is the Sophia one, and you've got a bit of an introduction to that, haven't you, Sharron?
Yes, yes. Well, Sophia is, this all started, I have a very strong background, as I said, in India, and the disciple of Sitara Devi, queen of Kathak North Indian dance. And so I spent 5 years there with some of the top musicians. I was friends with people like Ravi Shankar and Zakir Hussain, if you know the Indian classical music tradition. And I went very deep into the rhythms. Now, you know, I had started in ballet and modern dance in New York, and then found Indian classical dance, but I'd also been with African dancers and musicians, and particularly I had a partner, Ramzi El Edlibi from Lebanon, dance partner. We did many, many years of work together. And so I'm just really immersed in the rhythms of different cultures. And so you'll hear even in Sophia, there's both the tabla and then the rik, which is like a tambourine. So we have both Middle Eastern and Indian rhythms going on. It's in a 6-beat rhythm. And so we have Western, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. And since I was trained in India to embody the deities, all the goddesses, and all the stories, then I transferred that knowledge into other traditions. So not only do I have songs for Sophia, who is a Gnostic goddess, the Gnostic tradition out of Europe. It's a early Christian tradition, very beautiful, very beautiful. And there's also songs for Isis and Hathor and Lakshmi, etc. Shekhinah, it was the Hebrew embodiment of the divine feminine. And anyway, Sophia they all come from my heart. And the music that opens this is the opening music for episode 1 for Quantum Chi. We don't use the song, but we use the music itself, the instrumental. And that is part of the soundtrack of episode 1 of Quantum Chi. And there'll be more from this album that will be part of the soundtrack. The same musicians that you hear on this track are the musicians I'm working with to do the soundtrack for Quantum Chi.
Beautiful. So this is Sharron Rose with Sophia, and we'll come back with her and hear some more about the Quantum Chi movie that's going to be coming out very soon for you.
Enlighten us, enlighten Sophia, Sophia, Sophia.
Sharron, that track is supreme. It really is. Thank you so much for bringing it through. Isn't it just such an inviting, evocative dance with, it's multi-leveled, multi-connected. I mean, it also calls to me. I hear it again and again, and I have to keep playing it. Something really healing about that track. So
thank you. The singer, her name is Adie. We were making a film, our only feature film. We've made over 20 documentaries and instructionals through our company, Sacred Mysteries, my husband, Jay Widener, and myself. And I was writing the music, actually, this music, and I thought, I was living in Ashland, Oregon, and we had a world music choir. So I said, okay, I should join this because it will help me with my compositions. And so I walk in and there's this cutest young woman, so cute, with a pitch perfect voice. And we were looking for the female lead. And I heard her singing, I talked to her and I said, you have any experience in acting? And she said, oh, sure. The next thing you knew, she took the role. She was amazing. She became one of my lead singers on the music.
Oh, that is fantastic. And which film was that?
It was called The Last Avatar. And that film is available on Gaia.com with all of the films we've made until Quantum Chi, because we're still working on Quantum Chi.
I so love that title. So, with all your history of dance and composing, singing, all that stuff that you've been involved in, the divine feminine, that whole deepening into the mystery of being a woman on this planet and the different, well, anyway, how did you get into qigong, or how did qigong call you in?
We'll go back to the beginning of Sacred Mysteries, which was 20 years ago. Our first films, I did one called Yoga of Light, and this was in like 98, actually. I started working on that. And it was based upon all the teachings I've had for women on how to embody the divine feminine, how to work with your own emotions to transmute them into the enlightened emotions of the divine feminine. And in that, I talked about sacred geometry, and I introduced, this was a long time ago, the concept of the toroidal field and working through the chakras. I was in the Hindu tradition then. And we worked also, we did a film called Art Mind with the visionary painter Alex Gray. We did one called Healing the Luminous Body, which is still one of the most popular films on Gaia, with the wonderful, my dear friend, Dr. Alberto Violdo, whose work is in Peruvian shamanism. And my husband, Jay Widener, did one called Secrets of Alchemy. So we were introducing this whole concept of the energy body, the light body. And then we'll fast forward to The Last Avatar, in which it's a narrative film in which Neil Donald Walsh, playing the Count Saint Germain, introduces this same concept of the light body. Now, I had been doing practice of the light body and alchemical practices from the Tibetan tradition and then into other traditions since 1985. And I felt that, yes, what we did was a nice introduction, but there's so much more. And it's so important for people to understand that we are much more than this physical. We have energy body, we have an emotional body, we have a mental body. We're spirits in material form, right? And what's so exciting with quantum chi, and then I'll go back to how it began, but what's so exciting is that now we're at the place where the animation programs exist, that someone like me as an independent film producer, it's just me and my little crew, can do some incredible work. So now, after all these years through quantum chi, I'm bringing forth this vision of the chi and of the energy bodies, so that I feel that if people really could see the effect of their emotions on other people and the effect of the other people's emotions on themselves, and to see how they're either, helping people or they're hurting people, and see all these dynamics, it would just be a great benefit. So this is part of my mission, both in this, and then later I want to do a whole series on the light body from all the traditions. So I was working, I thought, okay, I'll start this light body series, and who would be a great person to interview? And there was Master Mantak Chia. He has incredible alchemical teachings on growing your light body, on so many amazing practices, very deep inner alchemical teachings. So I have a book called The Path of the Priestess that was published by Inner Traditions, and Inner Traditions is Master Chia's publisher. So they connected me with Master Chia. I went to an event at this beautiful center called Eastover in the mountains of Massachusetts, Western Mass, and there was Master Chia. And the owner, a woman named Ying, said to me, I have this whole conference going on with like 12 masters, like a East-West medical qigong conference, something like that. And there was Lee Holden, Roger Yanka, Daisy Lee, Master Lee, who else was there? John Ye Zhang, many teachers, right? And so she said, well, they're here. Why don't you interview them? Now, I was prepared to interview Master Chia, but I, being the spontaneous filmmaker, artist that I am, I decided to jump into it. And I was so, what can I say? Their transmission. So every person I interviewed stood for an hour or more and gave me, I was standing, and gave me, they were so strong, the chi transmitted and the love was so powerful that when I came home, I thought, this light body is this huge project. Maybe I should do a little documentary on qigong. And the next thing I knew, it's 3 years later, and this is just evolving and evolving. It was like the Tao just said, here it is. You know, I started working with video in 1978. I've been in healing, I've been in movement, dance, all of this. And here's the project in which all of the training you've had in your entire life can be funneled into something of beauty and grace to give to the world.
Oh, wow. And indeed it is. Sharron Rose is here with us on Chi Time, explaining how the Quantum Chi movie or series of movie documentaries is coming into being. And that is a wonderful story. You know, it just illustrates your ability to like ride the chi of the moment and go, I'll just interview them all then, you know, just to let yourself be informed by whatever the Tao wants you to do next. I mean, that is that's brilliant. I love that.
Well, the other thing is that Master Chia at that point told me, and I learned what's called the 6 healing sounds major practice, in which you're actually transmuting your emotions and the energy of the organs, and you are growing your light body.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm just so grateful, because I consider him my inspiration to begin the whole series. And immediately when I returned back to Crestone, that day I started practicing qigong.
Okay, so that's what beckoned you in, and then it was a development, a continuation of your own practice and studies of where's this going to take you to now.
Well, here's something else. I was a professional dancer, 8 hours a day dancer around the world pretty much for many years, right? And so 2006, my hips really went, and I had hip replacements. But I want to say that at this point, since I've been completely focused, for a while I was doing 4 hours a day of practice. Now, since I'm really focused back in the project, it's 2 hours. I am more flexible now than I have been in many years. And it's not just physical flexibility. I mean, with hip replacements now, I'm able to sit with my legs crossed and bring my elbows down onto the floor in front of me. And that's something I never thought I would achieve. And so with all of these, both external and internal teachings, because where they're leading me is into what I would call the discovery of holding patterns in the tissues. You know, we have traumas, we have lots of experiences that are not positive. And so we developed from very early on these ways of holding our body, and especially if you're sitting at a computer all day, that are not really beneficial to us. And much often they're linked to emotional trauma. So one of the things through, you know, all the training I've had, but plus the deep inner qigong work, what I'm discovering is that we have these patterns based on our thoughts and emotions, and we're holding them. It's really a sense of protection. We're trying to protect ourselves, but instead of actually protecting, these things now are no longer serving us. They're actually causing pain. Like the older you get, you know, you're holding these positions and you lose your grace and flexibility and fluidity, right? So this has been a really strong component of what I'm putting together and learning through the whole qigong practice that integrates so many of the different healing trainings I've had in my life.
Yes, it does. Qigong helps us to weave all the so-called sort of differing aspects of ourselves and helps us to unify and align ourselves to our truth and be able to, as you say, find ways to unwind the old conditions and patternings that, because you're right, trauma can get stuck in the body, it can get stuck in the fascia, it can get stuck at the different levels and layers of the aura. It's like, how do we move that on? And with the combination, because as you know, it is such a combination practice, isn't it? Of a lot of people would maybe think qigong's just a standing practice, and you know, we know standing is a very very key part of qigong and the stamina that you build through a standing practice. But as a dancer also, you know, about the spontaneous movement and the flow and how the qi just informs the body. And if you let that happen, the body will find ways to unwind itself, which I find really fascinating.
What I've noticed, because there's a lot of breathing exercises.
Yes.
What I've noticed is that I'll be my consciousness in the tissue, and I'll be releasing and breathing away the tension, and then everything's fine. And then all of a sudden I'll notice that I'm tense again. And then I'll recognize that I've been thinking about some problem or something, and that the thought itself will create the holding in the tissues. So then I recognize it, and then I release it. So it's really, you know, contemplation, training of working with the thoughts and the mind. That's what I love. We have in quantum chi, you know, it's envisioned around 9 to 10 episodes. It's so deep, it's so profound, and I want to lead people down the path. So, you know, episode 1 is kind of an introduction to qi. What is qigong? What does qi feel like? How it's related with Taoism? What is the qi matrix? A little bit about the emotions. Then we move in episode 2, which we're working on now, to it's called The Way and the Warrior, from subtle arts to martial arts. And so in this, we're talking about how it's a foundational, qigong is a foundational, and qi are foundational components of tai chi and wushu, and a little bit about what these practices are composed of. And then we go into a whole long section on protective qi and ways to protect yourself in terms of not only physical, but energetic protection. And then we're moving into the quantum aspect, you know. So the next phase of this project is to interview quantum physicists and some medical professionals who work with different modalities, to really show how this whole concept of, you know, this quantum expansiveness, and I always think of it as like that quantum leap of consciousness, is related to these practices. And in that, we will also bring in anyone familiar with, you know, the microcosmic orbit and other teachings that link us with our cosmic nature. And then we go into a whole episode on the Qi matrix, introducing the 3 dantians and their importance, and then into the meridians. Then there's episode 5 is on healing the emotional body. And then we go into our relationship with nature. I always call it nature and chaos, because Taoism is founded in nature. Nature is so important. And I think that that's part of the reason there's so many issues these days, that people have divorced themselves from nature. Not only their outer nature itself, but their inner nature is confused. And we really want to assist people in understanding what's called their true nature. And then after that, we have a few episodes envisioned on actual healing practices, self-healing, healing others, and some of the how qigong is being used in hospitals and for the veterans and many different places. And then we're going into longevity and immortality and inner alchemy. And finally, what we would love is to travel to China, in the footsteps of the masters, and meet some of these masters and go to the home of the Taoist teaching. So that's our vision. And our episodes are right now envisioned like about 40 minutes of what you'd call a regular documentary, and then another 20 minutes of exercises that people can do that are related to whatever the teaching is in that episode. So that's the way it's envisioned.
Oh, this is so exciting. How can people find out more right now? What have you got that you can share right now with people?
They can go to the website, uh, Quantum Chi, QUANTUMQI movie.com, quantumchimovie.com. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/quantumchi. We have a Facebook group, facebook.com groups, Quantum Chi Life Force Energy. And I'm on LinkedIn. And, but the big thing right now is that we are preparing an Indiegogo campaign, a crowdfunding campaign, because we want to involve all of you in this. And we really need support. I'd like to get this project completed in the as soon, not take another 3 years. And so I'm reaching out to all of you. We're going to have incredible, if you know about crowdfunding, it's not just that you give money, you actually get what they're called perks. So we have these, and they're all downloadable except the t-shirt, I think. And there's exercises from all the masters, there's meditations, we just are adding Master Chia's Universal Tao TV. You can get a 6-month or lifetime subscription to his unbelievable treasury. Roger Yonka has another treasury of exercises. You can get that. You can join the big inner circle and get everything. But they're all very beneficial for everyone. You know, simple practices, and so it will bring it into your body. And by getting one of these perks, and you're helping the process of the series.
Definitely. Wow. And that is going to be coming out in the middle of July. So I'm going to have to let you know when that is happening and give you links and stuff. Or if you join up with the Facebook group anyway, then you're going to be able to get them directly from Sharron. So we will find a way of sharing the information as soon as that comes through, Sharron. Don't you worry.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I mean, for me, you know, I hosted a qigong global summit last September for the Shift Network. And it was a huge success, seen in 118 countries. And we're talking about doing another one in September.
Right.
So
I was going to say another one of those would be really pertinent now,
yes.
Because you can actually feed it straight into the Indiegogo campaign, can't you?
Yes, and I'm working with people like Bill Douglas of World Tai Chi and Qigong Day. I'm going to interview him for the series. You know, all of these just amazing people who have spent many years building the Qigong Tai Chi community. And it's time. It's really time for this to come out. You know, I worked in schools for many years with children in the arts and in movement and in music. And I only wish I had had the Qigong practice, because I know how powerful it would be to bring to schools. It's just so harmonizing.
It is.
You know?
It takes meditation away from it being something that you're just doing and sitting. And I mean, there is meditation going into schools now, and somebody like David Lynch is really
that's right,
encouraging that. But qigong, as a moving meditation, there's so much more that you can experience there. And I wonder, just as a last note on this episode of Chi Time, because we're definitely going to be inviting you back, Sharron. You're just like a dream to talk with. Is that I wonder that because it's taken a while for qigong to sort of come forward, and I was thinking, why is this? Because yoga's taken the world by storm, and mindfulness and tai chi. Why has qigong kind of held itself back? And my feeling and thoughts is that it's such a personal, private sort of practice that it's really not easy to shout about it. And a lot of the time you don't want to shout about it because everybody's experience is different. I mean, have you got feelings about that as well?
It's something I've thought about. Um, and well, Tai Chi is very well known. It's not as huge as yoga. I think that maybe the China connection, maybe because it was more of a secret teaching, but whatever, its time has come.
That is absolutely for sure, it has. And the more of us that are able to speak and give examples and offer to people experiences, which is what your film is doing. And there's the original trailer, isn't there? And you say you've got a new trailer as well coming through now?
Well, we're creating a gorgeous trailer that's showing some of these beautiful animations that we're doing where we see the chi moving. And they're very beautiful. So that trailer we're finishing actually right now, today, and that will be part of the crowdfunder. So in that, when you go to the crowdfunder, when we have that up, which should be, at this point, I think it'll be in maybe the second week in July, then you'll be able to get a real glimpse of the expansiveness and the high production values. One thing I want to point out is that to give people an experience of nature, I think almost every, I'd say 99.9% of the interview, well, all of the interviews and 99.9% of everything else has been filmed in nature. And believe me, as a filmmaker, that is not easy. I mean, we even have one of Jampa Stewart doing an interview in the rain under an umbrella. You just have to deal with the elements. It's very qigong, it's very Taoist.
You want some water. You probably got some snow in there somewhere as well.
And what's been really exciting is now we have the use of aerial drones. Yeah. So we have all of this footage of the masters doing their practices on mountaintop, really all over the world. And you can see some of that if you go to the website quantumchimovie.com. There is the trailer for episode 1.
Oh, beautiful. And we've got Master Ken Cohen coming over to the UK. In fact, I think he's in the country right now.
I adore Ken. I was going through, the last time I saw him, my father had passed. I was going through a very difficult time. And I did the interview, and then he put his arm around me. And I still, right now, and this was many months ago, feel the soothing, I don't even have words for it, energy, vibration that he transmitted just from that. He is a very powerful healer and an extraordinary scholar. I adore him.
Oh, me too. I'm just, again, so honored to be able to be trained by him. It's been a big wish of mine for a long, long time, but that's another story.
Yes.
Right now, thank you so much for sharing the wealth of your wisdom so far with us, Sharron. Thank you.
You're so welcome. It's just an honor to be on your show. I feel that we really have a deep, deep connection that I pray will go on for many, many years.
Me too. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's play, listeners, another track from you called Awaken to the Light.
I do want to say one thing about that. The lead singer on this is named Beth Quist. She sang with Cirque du Soleil. She's extraordinary, you'll hear. She has a 4-octave range. And I also want to acknowledge the other musicians, Jesse Mano and James Hoskins.
Beautiful. So we will leave you now from the Quantum Chi chat into Awaken into the Light body. And thank you all so much for watching and listening. And thank you to Sharron again for your beauty and your light.
Thank you.